and visible to all of you. And if I'm audible and visible, you can write it in the comment section. Just give me a second. Let me cross check. So today we'll have a look at both the newspaper, 16th as well as 17th December. Just give me a second, guys. Visible, you can write it in the comments. So yeah, I think we are fine. We are good to go. So let's start. Good morning, Rishi. So Hindu analysis, 16th and 17th December 2025. And my name is Shubham Sagar. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. This is the Telegram channel. I'll be sharing the Hindu analysis PDF by 9:30 a.m. So you can download this Hindu analysis PDF from there. So we'll discuss, before we start discussing today's articles, the important articles, what we have to do is, first of all, let's go to these newspapers, guys, and let's see yesterday's newspaper as well as today's newspaper, and what are the things what are the articles which are important from. First of all, let's go to yesterday's newspaper. So if you see this, does India need to upgrade its biosecurity measures? Just give me a second, guys. So this article, I will cover it today. So this will be the last article which we'll be covering today. So again, that's fine. This article, rest what was in news. Shanti bill was in news yesterday. We are talking about yesterday because I did not take yesterday's thing. So Shanti bill, page number 11. Just give me a second, guys. So yes, Shanti bill, this one. This one was in news. Again, an editorial has been published today on this Shanti bill. So we'll discuss it today also, because, and we will discuss and we'll take today's article on Shanti bill. Then there was an article related to malaria vaccine. So that is fine. And what else? Biosecurity, page number 9. We will discuss it. Oman Modi sir has again went for touring some regions and all. So that's fine. That will keep on coming. So there is no issue as such. So this was one article which I have earmarked yesterday. Oman visit is more than a routine diplomatic trip for Modi sir. We'll talk about it. And then there's an article which is there on lynching. Good morning, Annie. Good morning, Harshini. Good morning, Iltush. Lynching article. Again, we are having a look at yesterday's newspaper. So page number 11, Manrega will come. So we'll talk about it. Oh, this is 17th, right? 16th, page number 11. So this one, 8 arrested in Bihar over mob lynching of cloth vendor. And why this article is important? Mob lynching of cloth vendor. So his name is Mohammad Athar Hussain, and he has been lynched because in GS1 you read about something known as secularism. You read about, and in communalism you read about these terms. Communalism, basically three attributes of communalism, so to say. Ethiopia and Jordan trip, yes, exactly. So communalism, the people who are communal by nature, they have three attributes. You have to check whether you are communal or not. Three attribute means, people of same religion, they have similar interests. So I'm a Hindu, I have similar interest with other Hindus. First attribute. Second attribute, people who are communal, people of different religion, they have different interests. That is the second attribute of communalism. Third attribute of a communal person, that people of same religion or different religion, they have so much divergent interest that they cannot coexist. And when they have this particular feeling that they cannot coexist, then they resort to these extreme events like the mob lynching of cloth vendor which has happened. So this is basically a consequence of communalism and whatever is happening in our society. Cool. So this was about yesterday's newspaper. As I've told you, biosecurity we will discuss today. So if we come to again Manrega changed to G Ramji. Yes, you will be very happy, Rishi. you know. So again, this is about means yesterday's article, guys. Let's come to today's article. We will discuss some articles, but whatever articles we are not discussing, but which are important, let me tell you those articles. FDI and insurance, page number 13. I've just written the page number. So these are one-liners, and that's why I'm not discussing it, because we have more important articles to discuss. So this one. Lok Sabha passes bill on 100% FDI in insurance. So this allows private sector, whole money can come from different private sector, 100% FDI. This has happened. Again, this will develop this article and we will talk about it in subsequent Hindus. Then what other article we have to, and which was a one-liner, NATO, we will discuss it today. Maoism will discuss today. Microplastic will discuss today. FDI, yes, EQRM, H12. So there are some one-liner, guys, important from like India Maldives joint military exercise equivalent conclude. So just remember it from exam perspective. It is happening between which two particular countries? That is important from exam perspective. Now let's come back to today's news analysis and let's discuss everything one by one. So MCQ 9. This is a question which I gave you as a homework day before yesterday. statement correct regarding judicial intervention in online content regulation? What is the answer, guys? Chepanti chepu telsu ledu kaadu. That means tell me fast. And yeah, any message I got, any I'm good here, I'm much better. So yesterday there was some, like, I was not very well. So what is the answer for this question, guys? MCQ 9, judicial intervention in online content regulation. Day before yesterday on Monday we talked about this whole thing, freedom of free speech and all, how it is not at all that free in our current India. And in that regard, we have discussed this. So Any and Iltush, they have given the answer. Courts should exercise restraint and leave lawmaking to the legislature. Cool, sir. So now let's come to the present and let's talk about first article of the day. There are multiple articles which published in today's Hindu on NSS, Trump NSS National Security Strategy. And this article is written by Priyanjali Malik. So Priyanjali has always been a very good writer, so to say. So I cannot add anything more, and her work speaks for herself. So again, Trump NSS and Europe's existential crisis, national security strategy. Trump believes in MAGA, make America great again, just like Modi sir believes in MEGA, make India great again. Lots of commonalities between Trump sir and Modi sir, but yes, Modi sir is Modi sir. Nobody can replace Modi sir. So here in Trump's national security strategy, it is basically telling you how USA's foreign policy and security objectives are going to, like, what will be the way forward for it, like US foreign policy and their security strategy, national security strategy. It's not like everything which is written there is binding, but it shows you the way forward where America is going as a country. So Trump NSS and what it means for Europe, what it means for India, and in so many different ways. What is the meaning of this particular NSS? Just give me a second, guys. Yeah. So this article talks about how US is talking about Europe. Condition in Europe is not very good. The people, the local people, they are not very happy with the things which are happening there. And Europe, like European countries, are no longer European by nature. Non-European people are coming and influxing their region, so to say. So it reminds Priyanjali of 1930s world when people used to talk about all these kind of a thing, racial purity and all those stuff. So she's talking about this whole rhetoric which Trump is giving in his NSS. It echoes 1930s European civilizational decline narratives that we have to preserve our pure Aryan race. So somebody has to be exterminated. So that somebody will be Jewish because they're impure people. They have killed Jesus Christ, and they are the ones who are, you know, uh, like they are usurers. They charge so much interest rate, so they are just concerned about money and more money and blah blah blah. So again, history is repeating itself. Trump is again saying all these stuff, and it's not only Trump. There are so many other people who say similar kind of stuff. So European leaders, and again, you can read about all the things which he's saying. We will focus on what it means from India's perspective, and basically the word NATO, what it means for NATO. And NATO, it was created in 1949, post World War II, to counter Russia. And basically, it was an alliance of European countries, and there were two North American countries which were part of US plus Canada. Remember, Canada is also part of NATO. Ukraine, it is not a part of NATO. There are talks going on, but it is not a part of NATO. There are total around 32 countries in NATO. So again, he is not very enthusiastic about NATO. He's not very enthusiastic about, and here he refers to Donald Trump, Ukraine admission into NATO. So he's talking about all these things in his NSS, National Security Strategy. Europe has to take care of itself, and it has to protect its European culture, so-called European culture. Overtly MAGA style, America first and mercantilist. Focus on these words, guys. Very important. When you will read world history, you will read about these terms. Mercantilism. So mercantilist policy focuses on positive balance of trade. Positive balance of trade. As we have just seen, US has become more quid pro quo in nature. Positive. It's all about what, if we are providing India this, what India can provide us. Positive balance of trade, more export than import. And that is the same policy which NSS is advocating. If it is mercantilist for Europe, it is mercantilist for us also. So it is ignoring Africa, Australia, New Zealand. Just talked about Asia a little bit. They're mainly focused on trade imbalance with China and again US interest. Europe is a problem now. It's not an ally as envisioned in NATO, that an attack on one, attack on all, and all those stuff is, Trump is not focused on that. And again, he's talking about how Europe is facing civilizational erasure, migration policies, more and more outsiders, so-called outsiders are coming into Europe. And Trump is again restricting that in his country as well. Restrictions on free speech is happening. Look who is speaking. Trump is speaking, irony. Suppression of political opposition, loss of national identity. Why we are saying this is an irony? Because there was a time earlier, guys, when in US there was no. If you see how people used to criticize Obama and all others, there was so much freedom of speech and expression. Caricatures were made, and Saturday Night Live. I don't know how many of you have watched SNL. So they used to do all these things. Now it has become lesser and lesser because Trump files lawsuit one after the other. Not very different to what is happening in India. Earlier, Manmohan saying this and that, we used to say. Now people are like, oh my God, we don't even ask from our prime minister for any conference, press conference, this and that. So situations look very similar between US and America, but not exactly same. US political interference in Europe, you can see all these things. And just like US is doing a lot of stuff in Venezuela, many people feel that, US will do certain stuff in Europe also, and they are saying US will support patriotic European parties. That means they will support those parties which are siding with them or which will favor, US policies and all. So this is seen as a hint that Trump will be meddling in internal affairs, just like he's meddling in South America, he's meddling in Venezuela. Shift in NATO responsibility. Europe is asked to take primary responsibility for its own defense. Earlier, also, Trump was saying that Europe has to increase their defense expenditure when it comes to NATO and how much money they are spending in NATO and all. And now they're like, you take your own responsibility. We are not responsible. Now, the problem here is, what will Europe do now? Because US, these Western European countries, they were so much dependent on US from security perspective. And it's like all of a sudden things have changed. So it's not like all of a sudden they have so much things to rely upon. They were relied on US nuclear capabilities, this and that. So what is the option for Western European countries if they want to prevent themselves from, let's say, Russian aggression? So they have three options. They can ignore this national security strategy, or they can flatter Trump, or they can accept that US is unreliable and they have to take care of their own security, and US is not going to protect them anymore. So now they have started doing the second one. They are flattering Trump and all. We'll see how. So you have to understand what is happening in, like, again, it reflects you see all these stuff. And what is the meaning of NSS? It is telling you what will be the strategy of executive class in US. Executive. Trump belongs to that class. It's not like it's a binding statement. It's not binding. It's not like everything which is stated in NSS will be followed to the T. No, that is not the meaning here. The meaning is it's just showing you how US will act going forward. That is the basic rationale of NSS. Okay. And then Europe's current response. As we have discussed, there are three options. Second option is flattery, and they have started doing that. And UK has invited Trump that please come for second state visit. Oh my God. Challenges for European self-defense. They don't have an integrated defense framework. They were too relied on NATO, which has become unreliable. Successful joint military project, Franco-German fighter jet. And again, that is not the only issue. These countries, if you go into the background, World War I, World War II, they have fought among themselves. There is still a certain amount of hostility among them. US was acting as a binding factor. Without US, God knows what will happen in these countries now. Whether those vociferous tendencies or, those issues which were there earlier, whether it will crop up or come to the fore or not, we don't know. So Brexit also complicates Britain's role in European security. So basically, Europe is in whole shambles. Western European countries, they don't know what is going to happen in subsequent days. Well, nobody knows. Trump can do anything and everything. You know. So global implication, NSS attacks multilateral. Now, what it means for world in general and us. So they are like, you may have seen, he does not go to UN or Triple C summit and all. He does not go to BBNJ and all, biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction. He undermines UN and all these things. He attacked UN when UN said certain stuff about Israel. So basically, US and NSS, they are attacking multilateral institution. We are moving towards a Hobbesian world. What is Hobbesian world? It's not about rule-based order. It's about power. Whoever has power, they will be the one who will be ruling. That is Hobbesian world. Hobbes is a philosopher, so to say. So we are moving towards that, and this NSS in a way is, telling you that they are undermining UN, they are undermining climate organizations, biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction, BBNJ, and all other stuff. So rule-based trade order has taken a backseat. It's all about US hegemony and their own policies, whatever will suit them. So again, so please understand, rule-based order has been replaced by Hobbesian order, or Hobbesian world where Hobbesian, again, that's a tongue twister. The power, not rules, prevail. And this is not good for us in general, So debate is not about blah, blah, blah. You can see all these things. It's about how Europe will now react to this NSS. What will happen? These, like, when you talk about UN, when you talk about other organizations, they are flawed, but at least they are maintaining some amount of sanctity when it comes to rule-based order. Everything is now changing with each passing day. How Trump is reacting and how, like, whatever NSS is saying, stating. Okay, let's solve some questions so that we can remember stuff. Which of the following countries are NATO members? Finland, Sweden, Ukraine, Canada. Iltush has given the answer. So even if you don't know, 32 countries, currently there are 32 countries which are member of NATO. So even if you do option elimination, you can solve this question. We have discussed who is not a member. So Iltush has given the answer. Harshini has given the answer. Annie and Rishi, they have given the answer. Ukraine is not a member, right? We have discussed this. So if you eliminate third, you will get the answer. Finland, Sweden, and Canada. So please, guys, just have a look at NATO members. They are important, but trust yourself also and do option elimination. That will help you in exam as well. Not Ukraine. Very good, Rishi. So the answer is A, as stated by all of you. MCQ2. The term Hobbesian world refers to what? A world governed by international institution, a global order based on liberal democracy and anarchic system where power dominates law, a socialist international order. So Iltush and Harshini and you, Rishi, they have given the answer, an anarchic system where power dominates law. So we are moving from a rule-based order, a rule-based world to a Hobbesian world. And this NSS in a way is, substantiating that particular claim, so to say. So yes, Iltush, Harshini, Rishi, you people are correct. Very good. PYQ3 asked by UPSC in 2022 because we are talking about Europe and we have talked about all these things, rupee depreciating and all. So let's connect some stuff and let's try to solve this question. A good question. Let's solve. And don't get flustered just by seeing UPSC PYQ. My God. Solve this. So, with reference to Indian economy, if the inflation, and these are conceptual questions, guys. These are the questions which you should not get wrong. There are certain questions which are actually tough. But these are conceptual questions. If you read Indian economy, if you read economy, if you read how basic concept works for economy, you should be able to solve these kind of questions, guys. 32. Iltush has given the answer for third one. So if the inflation is too high, if the prices are increasing, then what will happen? If the prices are increasing, that means people are willing to pay more. So if you want to curb inflation, you have to decrease money circulation. If you want to curb it, if you want to curb this inflation, decrease money circulation. How you can decrease money circulation? By taking out money from people's hand. And how you can take out money from people's hand? By selling government security. If RBI sells government security, then people will give their money to buy those government security, and less money will circulate in the economy, and then less money will chase the equal number of goods, the prices will reduce. So if the inflation is too high, the RBI is likely to sell government security and not buy. So if you just eliminate one option, you will get the answer, that is B, 2 and 3 only. So via option elimination also you are able to solve this question as done by Iltush, Rishi, Harshini and Annie. Very good, yeah? Cool. Next article, next editorial, page number 6, GS to GS3, India's nuclear governance needs regulatory independence. So again, Shanti Bill, it has been brought in Parliament and it is talking about, nuclear energy. Contributing only 3% of India's electricity. We want to increase it to 100 gigawatt. How it will happen? Only government money will not solve the purpose. You need private participation. So for increasing private participation, government has introduced this Shanti Bill, sustainable harnessing and advancement of nuclear energy for transforming India. And what will happen? $1 is equal to 91.14 rupee. Cool, Rishi. So Shanti Bill is what? Like here again, there are certain things which we have to keep in mind. There are private participation which will be involved when it comes to construction of nuclear power plants, small modular reactors. So there are three entities who can do these things, who can, construct nuclear power plants or small modular reactors. So please discuss other options in question three, sir. Okay, just give me a second. Okay. Harshini, your economic concept is somewhat uh, hillu hillu or what? So first is you did understand. So if you eliminate first, you will get the answer. If rupee is rapidly depreciating, RBI is likely to sell dollar in the market. So if RBI is selling dollar in the market, then in the market there will be more dollar. Generally, when something becomes precious, something is precious if it is scarce in nature. If something is available in abundance, the value will deteriorate or decrease. In simple terms, if your mother must be telling you that don't go to Mossy's house all the time, your value will reduce. This is not a correct example, but hope you're understanding. So if RBI is selling dollars in the market, then what will happen? There will be more dollars in the market. The scarcity aspect of dollar will reduce, thereby reducing the depreciating dollar. If dollar depreciate, rupee will appreciate. It all works in the vice versa model, guys. So second is correct. If interest rate in US or European Union were to fall, that is likely to induce RBI to buy dollars. Why? Because if interest rates in US or European Union are falling, then these foreign portfolio investors, they will be more incentivized to invest in these countries. That will lead to what? More FPI outflows from India. If more FPI outflows from India will happen, our rupee will depreciate. So to prevent that, RBI will start buying dollars. And when they are doing this thing, when they are starting, they're buying dollars, so to say, then there'll be more forex reserves for them to prepare for that particular scenario when FBI outflows happen. So again, this whole FPI outflows happen. Again, if you don't understand these two things, what I'm trying to say is UPSC creates economy MCQs and their options in such a way that you can easily solve questions if you have some amount of conceptual clarity. Harshini, are you understanding what we are discussing here? Please do say, even if there are some issues in some options, you can have it. Economy is that way. But even if you know certain options, you will be able to solve. Like first is a very, very easy option, guys. It's a conceptual thing. You should know this first concept. Harshini, are you understanding things? Even some bit? So you will understand what I'm saying. First is like totally wrong, and this everyone should know. If you're making mistake in first, then that means you have to read economy. That means your concepts are not clear at all. There is something wrong here. Yes, very good, very good, very good, very good, very good. So again, let's focus. So Shanti Bill is what? Sustainable harnessing and advancement of nuclear energy for transforming India. So we want to increase private participation, but not in all sector. Please remember, nuclear power is a very sensitive sector. Very sensitive. Why? Because nuclear energy is a dual use technology. There is one Australia group also. Do tell me, which groups deals with dual use technology? There are MTCR, Missile Technology Control Regime. There is Wassenaar arrangement. So there is something called as dual use goods. So nuclear energy, it's a sensitive technology. It's a dual use technology. Dual use means you can use it for civil purpose. You can use it for and military purpose. You can make nuclear weapons. So if we give it to private sector, and if they are using it to make nuclear weapons, that would be a harakiri. Or if they transfer it to Pakistan, then what we will do? So it's not like Shanti Bill is saying that in every regard private entities can come and participate. Their work is confined to certain regions, which you have to understand. Private participation is limited to plant construction, delivery, parts of supply chain. It's not like they will be doing uranium enrichment. They will not be doing that. Uranium enrichment means, let's say we are doing nuclear fission reaction. In fission reaction, you have uranium as the raw material, which breaks into different parts, plutonium, etc. So this uranium enrichment, plutonium enrichment, all these things, it will not be done by private sector to address non-proliferation concern. And what comes under non-proliferation concerns? That they are not, these private sectors, they are not converting nuclear energy into nuclear weapons. They can do that if they have access to everything. So to prevent that. Second, to prevent that this nuclear energy is not going to other countries and all, so privacy concern and all. So that's why there are certain things which they will be doing. It's not like they'll be doing all the stuff. So keep these points in mind, guys. They're actually important. So let's come back. So Shanti will changes who can legally build in. So what they can do, they can build these nuclear entities, and as you can see here, but they cannot deal with raw materials, so to say. They can do plant construction, they can do delivery, they can be a part of the supply chain, but they will not deal with uranium enrichment and anything and everything which is concerned with proliferation. That means they can use. Hope you are understanding. You will understand each and everything. Let's focus. So, what are the things which are important from exam perspective? Nuclear power, nuclear energy. We have talked about this nuclear energy. It is not renewable, guys. It is non-renewable in nature, because whatever uranium, thorium, plutonium you will use, it is limited in number. So, nuclear energy is non-renewable, but it is much cleaner than other non-renewable sources like thermal, etc. So that's why we want to increase it to 100 gigawatt nuclear capacity by 2047, and we have talked about it multiple times. Small modular reactors, not as big as, let's say, the nuclear power plants which is in Rawat Bhata or Kakadapada or Naruda or Kalapakkam, or again Kalapakkam. Harshini takes offense to how I pronounce that word. So hope you can understand. We need contribution. Massive capital mobilization is needed if you want to generate 100 gigawatt nuclear capacity. And that's where Shanti will comes into picture, who can build and operate civil nuclear facility. But even here, they will have some restrictions if they are private entities. So government entities, joint venture, public-private partnership, and any other company, subject to condition, any private company, let's say Ambani or Adani. Although Modi sir has nothing to do with Ambani and Adani, he not even meets them, and these companies, they don't even fund BJP and all, but still any other company, including Ambani and Adani, they can make these or deal with these nuclear facility. So again, we want private capital, and this Shanti bill is a way of ensuring that. So allowing non-government operators to share construction financial risk, and again, this will help us in achieving that 100 gigawatt nuclear capacity by 2047. 2047, when India will complete 100 years of independence, although it should be 2114, right? When India will complete 100 years of independence, because we got independence in 2014. Sorry. So private participation limited to construction, plant construction, delivery, and parts of supply chain. You understood why? Because raw material is very critical. It's a dual use technology. It can be used for military purpose, and we don't want to do that. So Shanti consolidates, again, you can read all these things. Liability provision. This is one key aspect. Why there are so many countries which are hesitant about use of nuclear energy because of nuclear disasters, Fukushima and all. So who will take liability? Like, Bhopal gas disaster happened. Who will take responsibility for that? And how much responsibility you will take? So this bill is saying that 3,000 crore responsibility will be taken by any entity who is making this for a nuclear incident. So let's say some people died, so they have to be given some money. You caused some environmental damage, so you have to take care of that. In that regard, the cap is 3,000 crore. Beyond that, central government will bear the liability, and central can also assume full liability for a private installation. Let's say it is of Ambani or Adani, although this government has nothing to do with that. It's all free and fair business, so to say. But what about something happening on a catastrophic level where the liability is more than 10,000 crore, 20,000 crore? Then what will happen? What the adequacy of compensation for victims? How will you ensure that? How much environmental damage they cause? How will you ensure that they are paying for it? So there are certain concerns, but all in all, you can say that this is actually a welcome step. We need more investment. Private sectors will be coming into picture, and that is actually a good thing. And this is also a good thing that they will not be entering into the raw material region, which is actually a critical aspect. So currently we have 8.818 gigawatt, a long way to go. Very good, Iltush. Iltush is a good girl. Now let's solve some question, guys. This is a question based on the previous article, MCQ 4. NATO, NSS, Hobbesian world. Which of the pairs given above is or are correctly matched? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So, and again, they're saying correctly matched, right? NATO, NSS, Hobbesian world. Iltush has given the answer. Iltush has become so fast. Oh my god. So Hobbesian word is not a rule-based order. It's a power-based order. Whoever has power, they will rule. So third is wrong, right? If third is wrong, you are left with A and C, right? 1 and 2 and 1 only. So NATO is collective defense, yes. NSS is strategic worldview of US. So both these statements are correct. Third is wrong. So the answer is A, 1 and 2 only, as stated by Iltush and Rishi. Very good. MCQ 5. With reference to nuclear power in India, have a look at this particular statement, guys. Use option elimination and try to solve this question. So nuclear power contributed to about 3% of India's total electricity generation in 24-25. India aims to achieve 100 gigawatt of nuclear power capacity by 2047. Small modular reactors form no part of India's future nuclear roadmap. So Harshini Iltush, they have given the answer. Small modular reactor is a critical part of India's future nuclear roadmap because unlike the big nuclear power plants, they're small. They can be you know mobilized or assembled anywhere and everywhere. Much easier to manage than big nuclear power plants. So yes, it is a core part of India's future nuclear power program and power roadmap. So third is wrong. If you eliminate third, you will get the answer A, 1 and 2 only, as stated by Harshini Iltush and Rishi. Very good here. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Spread the word. You can join these individual programs, and or you can join the lifetime success bundle, and the prices will increase from 1st January. I'm saying will means will. It will increase. So prices of these individual courses or lifetime success bundle will increase from 1st January. So you have to keep that in mind. And all these courses or whatever you're saying, Hindu analysis, etc., they are running, they're going on because people are buying these courses or people are donating. If you stop doing that, maybe, I don't know. So again, it all depends upon you. Things continue or not. So keep that thing in mind and join at the earliest because the prices will increase from 1st January. ठीक है, you can also donate if I'm contributing to your knowledge base. Page 20, Science 2 GS3. Inhalable microplastic, a hidden toxic or toxin worsening the air in our cities. So what this article is talking about and what is the basic meaning of this article? Nilanjana, she has written this article and she is saying that, currently when it comes to cities pollution standards, so we are focused on PM10, we are focused on PM 2.5, we are focused on other pollutants, SO2, etc., flue gas, desulfurization units, and all. And we have to move beyond that. We are not focusing on something. This is not this microplastic. We have talked about air quality index. In air quality index, we have not seen anywhere microplastic as a term. And this is becoming a big issue. This is also causing something known as Trojan house or horse effect. Trojan horse effect means these microplastics, they will go inside your lungs and all. They will impact your breathing capacity. They will impact your hormones and all. So many things they are doing. At the same time, they are also having Trojan horse effect. Trojan horse effect means they are carrying with them some pathogens, some fungi. So a secondary impact. So there are so many things which we have to understand from microplastic perspective. I wanted to give you a 2024 PYQ, guys, on microplastic. This is your question homework, 2024 UPSC PYQ. These plastics, like in chewing gum also, when you're eating chewing gum, it's also containing plastic, and that's why it is non-biodegradable. And stop eating chewing gum, guys. So on that, UPSC has asked a PYQ. Solve that PYQ based on whatever I had told you, and you can easily solve that question. So every winter, Delhi NCR is facing smog, and we are focusing on PM 2.5, 10, and gaseous pollutants, and we are not talking about microplastics, so to say. And plastic is a very common theme of UPSC PYQs. UPSC loves to ask questions on plastic, guys. So what are microplastics? Smaller than 10 micrometers, and they can go through your nose, they can go and enter inside your lungs and cause a lot of issues. And again, you can see all these things. Can anybody tell me, you may have heard this word, single use plastics. What is the basic meaning of the term or phrase, or basic meaning of this particular phrase, single use plastic, guys? So again, do tell me, do write in the comment section. You can read all the point. So health risk, they go into lungs, they cause hormone related disorder, breast problems, cancer risk, and there are some, yes, carcinogen. How they become carcinogen? This is where the Trojan horse effect comes into picture. Trojan horse effect means they will carry, like, along with plastic, they will carry some other things, metals like lead and cadmium, and then hormone disrupting chemicals, diethyl phthalates and all. So this lead is a carcinogen. It's a cancer causing agent, so to say. So it goes inside your body and it causes and it increases the risk of cancer. So hope we can understand. And it's not only about Delhi. Atmospheric lead is highest in Kolkata, and this is because microplastic is carrying these heavy metals, and not only these chemicals, they are also carrying fungi, harmful fungi, and antibiotic resistance gene. So you can see the impact of these microplastics and why we have to take care of that, and why we have to move beyond PM10, PM 2.5, and other gaseous pollutants. We have to talk about microplastics in the same way. That's what this article is talking about. This is a big and Trojan horse effect. Hope you understood this. raises risk to, again, it is in a way also causing or leading to antimicrobial resistance. And let's try to see what is happening in different regions. Winter evenings, again, like we talk about temperature inversion. In winters, there is a phenomena called temperature inversion, because of which pollutants, they are not able to disperse, they stay in that particular region. And that is happening here also. This microplastic, this is more concentrated in winter evenings because of the poor dispersion condition, temperature inversion. And high exposure, Delhi 14.18, more than Delhi, Kolkata has it. Kolkata is also polluted, guys. They have high concentration of lead. But you will see here 10 polluted cities in India included Kanpur, Nagar, sir. Oh my God. You can see here lower exposure. Mumbai, Chennai. These are maritime regions, or these are the regions which are close to sea, coastal region. Coastal region, land bridge, sea bridge, so many other concepts happen there, because of which dispersal happens and they have low exposure. But the areas which are continental by nature, surrounded by land from all sides, much hot, much cold, so they are the ones which are facing higher amount of microplastic. Remember it, they can give you that Mumbai has more microplastics concentration than, let's say, Delhi and all. So that will be wrong. And why that is wrong? Because they are operating under those conditions like land bridge and sea bridge, which decreases the concentration of pollutants, so to say. Types and source of major means microplastics, tire wear, and they have said that people who are working in these tire sectors, laborers, etc., tire wear microplastics found to be more carcinogenic rather. They have more lead and all. So again, the people who are vulnerable, they are more vulnerable, who are working outside, traffic police, construction workers, they are more vulnerable to microplastics and the Trojan horse effect created by microplastics, household dust and blah blah blah. You can read all these things. So what is the policy recommendation? Nobody answered me. What is single use plastic? Single use plastic is the plastic which has to be used once and discarded. Like, you have some polythene and you carry certain stuff. Right now plastic is banned, but still single use plastic, still you can get these single use plastic. So it has to be used once and then it has to be discarded. That is the basic meaning of single use plastic, guys. So please ban it. It is a major source of microplastic. Improve waste segregation and disposal. Address plastic burning, which releases toxic gases, and then address these sectors also, which is releasing microplastics. So here, waste segregation, disposal, and treatment of waste will go a long way in curbing this microplastic, which is slowly becoming a menace. Oh my God, so many problems to look forward to. So if we solve this particular mains question, inhalable microplastic represents a new and under-recognized dimension of India's air pollution crisis. Discuss. So under-recognized, new and under-recognized dimension. You can talk about other things, but why it is a new and under-recognized dimension? Because our AQI, air quality index, the pollutants which they are talking about, in that there is no mention of microplastics, and that's why it is an under-recognized. They are focused on PM10, PM2.5, and other pollutants. So maybe they have to include microplastics. And then you can go on and you can explain what is microplastic, less than 10 micrometer, and this and that, and what things it causes, what is Trojan horse effect, what diseases it is causing, how it is leading, or carrying lead and all, how it is carrying pathogens and all. So again, and how cities, like, it's not only about Delhi, even Kolkata has more microplastics than Delhi and more lead concentration than Delhi. So something has to be done about these continental regions where pollution or dispersal is happening at a lower rate, especially in winter region, because of a phenomena called temperature inversion. So you can talk about all these things, but do focus on the keywords, guys. Don't just write anything and everything. Write what is being asked rather than what you know. So represents a new and under recognized dimension. This is a keyword, so you have to focus on this. And there you have to focus on how we are focused more on PM 2.5, this and that. So you can read all these things. And then you can talk about what are inhalable microplastics, generated from where, evidence, what are the evidences, Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, China. I mean, China, Chennai, and Kolkata and Delhi, they have higher concentration. Why Mumbai and Chennai, they don't have higher concentration, or they have lower concentration? Because of the concepts of land bridge, sea bridge, this and that, which increases dispersal, so to say. And then the Trojan horse concept, how they're carrying heavy metals and pathogens and whatnot. Why it is under recognized, not included in AQI measurements. You can read all these things. Limited public and policy awareness. We have, just by making plastic management rules 2060, e-waste management rule 2016, solid waste management rule 2016, that is not going to solve the problem, guys. We have to go much more beyond than 2016 rules. Conclusion, again, you can read all these things. And hope you understood what is the basic rationale of this article. Let's solve some questions. MCQ 6. Under the Shanti Bill, licenses for nuclear energy activities may be granted to whom? Government entities, joint ventures, any other company subject to conditions. We have discussed this. Who can, license for nuclear energy activities can be granted to whom? So Iltush, Rishi, Harshini, they have given the answer. All three. Government entities, joint ventures, any other company subject to conditions. So all three, C, 1, 2, and 3. Very good. Who stated C? Nobody stated C. Only Harshini. Guys, go back and read Shanti Bill. We have discussed all these three. Government entities, joint venture, any other company subject to conditions. There we have talked about Ambani and Adani, although they have nothing to do with government and they are very transparent and everything is very transparent about them. So any other company, all the three are conditions. Can be granted, may be granted, right? So C. Hope Iltush and Rishi, that you people are understanding why C is the answer and not B and D. MCQ 7. Very good, Iltush. Consider the following statement about inhalable microplastics in India. I read all options and use option elimination, that will help you. They are plastic particles smaller than 10 micrometers. They can carry heavy metals, endocrine disrupting chemicals, and microbes. Coastal cities like Mumbai and Chennai record higher inhalable microplastic concentrations than Delhi. So Harshini, Iltush, Rishi, they have given the answer. So third is wrong, right? Mumbai and Chennai, they have lower inhalable microplastic concentration because of the land bridge, sea bridge, and coastal concept. So third is wrong. If you eliminate third, they can carry heavy metals. Yeah, both the statements are correct. So the answer is B1 and 2 as stated by you three people. Very good. Who are good boys and girls? You people are. Next article. Future of governance in post-Maoist India, page 8, GS3, internal security. So now, post-Maoist India means Maoism, Naxalism has almost been eradicated. We have we have talked about it. Two districts last 2-3 months back when we have talked about Naxalism, we have seen this is one of the good things about current government. Many people say that this current government, it divides people on the basis of religion, promotes hate-based policies and all. I don't say it. I love Modi sir, but you cannot discount the fact that this is one of the achievement of this current government. I believe no hate politics. They don't extend the divide and rule policy which was done by Britishers earlier. I don't believe in that. I believe, but again, whatever you believe in those things or not, this is a reality. This government has done a lot when it comes to Maoism and Naxalism in our country. And the Naxalism is a thing of the past. What is the future of governance? Now, this article is saying that whenever we talk about Naxalism, etc., we talk about, developmental initiatives or the lack of it, and poverty and all. We don't focus on justice delivery, governance failure, political exclusion. Most of these regions, which are Naxal dominated region, they're in fifth schedule, sixth schedule you talk about, and schedule areas and tribal areas and all. So fifth schedule, and in fifth schedule there are powers, there are autonomy which are given. But how much autonomy these regions they actually means they had actually. Governor had power, discretionary power to prevent land alienation. If somebody is trying to take away tribal land, governor can stop it. How much time governor used his discretionary power in these tribal areas? So basically the exclusion happened. These tribal areas, they were governed by non-tribal people. Even if you people, you become IS, IPS, maybe you will be posted in Dandakaranya region or Chhattisgarh, etc. So this is a problem. You are saying that they are safeguarded under fifth schedule, this and that, but in reality, you're not implementing fifth schedule, thereby leading to something known as a Dutch disease. What is Dutch disease? The regions which are rich in resources, etc., they are generally the poorest region in Africa or in India, anywhere you take it. So these regions, Jharkhand, so much of minerals and all, Chhattisgarh region, minerals, etc., they are generally the poorest, most marginalized because their resources are taken away and used somewhere else. So present, and so that's why this article is saying that don't just focus on underdevelopment poverty. Talk about governance failure. Talk about lack of justice delivery, which led to kangaroo courts being created by these Maoist people. In certain regions of Dandakaranya, these Maoist people, they had so much influence that they were running schools, they were running some hospitals, they were running some kangaroo courts. Kangaroo courts, extrajudicial courts. And they're not very impartial guys. So these kind of things were happening. Basically, fifth schedule provisions were not implemented. You are just using these regions to extract resources. Failure of governance despite legal safeguard. Planning committee, commission expert committee noted severe state neglect, and not only planning committee, there were different commissions which were established. I will show you. So there is Mungekar committee, 2009. They said that Ministry of Tribal Affairs is there to protect the interest of tribal people. Then you have National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, Article 338A, if I'm not wrong. But they failed to prevent exploitation. They're doing almost zilch nothing to prevent tribal exploitation, and somebody has to talk about it. Accountability is a major issue in our country, as we have seen. They, you know, launch scheme after scheme, but they are not concerned with how they will be implementing it. So land alienation as core grievance. Land alienation means what? Whenever you talk about land ownership concept, guys, even from history perspective, there are three concepts: individual ownership, community ownership, or royal ownership. Land belongs to me, land belongs to community as a whole, or land belongs to the king. Three concepts. In tribal people, the concept of community ownership is very strong. Land is a very important aspect of their whole culture, but land were taken away. Governor has a discretionary power to prevent this land alienation, but he never, very rarely used his discretionary power. More often than not, he used discretionary power to topple state governments. So massive displacement despite legal protection. Again, there are some scholars who said that post liberalization period after 1991, maximum tribal land loss happened, and that led to the phenomena which we have discussed: a Dutch disease. The regions which are rich in resources, mineral resources, be it in Africa or be it in India, they are the poorest generally. Loss of land and forest created deep resentment. And that's what led to the flourishment of Maoist insurgency and all those stuff. Currently also, this scheduled areas, the things, how things used to run in British period. When you talk about British period, we talk about how they converted, or they were concerned with timber and all, and land alienation happened, which led to Santhal rebellion, this rebellion, that rebellion. Same thing is going on according to this article. Colonial governance system, complex laws, justice mechanism, literacy rate is very poor. You are like fifth schedule, this provision, that provision, they don't know things. Low literacy is there. Then you're bringing outsiders to govern them via different provision. How will they like it? Obviously there will be some resentment. Administration dominated by outsiders with little understanding of tribal realities. Inaction by governors. You have discretionary power. You rarely exercise those fifth schedule powers, because center were like, no, just Great Nicobar project is happening, CRZ1A converted to CRZ1B, and we can see a trend which is happening, and all these things led to weakening of tribal protection mechanism. Weak service delivery institution, health, education, blah blah blah. You can see all these things remain ineffective, and it's not because of these things that this Maoist insurgency increased. Because of governance failure, these things remain inactive, which led to Maoist increase. So yes, people talk about how poverty etc leads to discontentment, which leads to rise of Naxalism. This poverty etc is happening because of governance failure. So somebody has to take responsibility of that governance failure. If governor did not use his discretionary power, he has to be accountable why he did not use his discretionary power under fifth schedule to prevent alienation of land. PESA Act, Panchayat Extension of Scheduled Areas Act, in these tribal regions, so that local gram sabhas etc. Bottom up model is promoted, but it was rarely promoted. And again, consent etc for land acquisition and mining went on. Nobody was concerned about empowering Adivasis. It was just on paper, just written. We are so concerned. Oh my God. Governance vacuum. We are so concerned about empowering local bodies, 73rd, 74th Amendment, but you never gave them actual powers, just on paper. Governance vacuum exploited by Maoists. So all these things happened. Maoism, Naxalism flourished because of governance failure. If your Gaganyaan mission, you said you will launch it in 2022, but we are not even sure it will happen in 2027. If smart city mission is not happening, if bullet train is not being constructed, this is governance failure. You should take accountability for it rather than having 10 hours discussion on Vande Mataram just because West Bengal election is here. Somebody has to make them accountable, and that's why people get frustrated and then they use extrajudicial means. So governance failure, again, you can read all these things. Maoist offer people's government, Janatan Sarkar, swift justice, basic services. Now you can understand. Everything stems from governance failure. Poverty did not lead to Maoism. Governance failure did. Governance failure led to poverty, which led to Maoism. Everything is, you can track back to governance failure. And that's what this article is talking about generally, guys. SC 338, ST 338A, OBC 338B. Very good. Parallel governance by Maoists, schools, food distribution, kangaroo courts. We have discussed what are kangaroo courts, extrajudicial courts. And they are gaining legitimacy because of lack of state justice and administration. So recently some things have happened, welfare delivery, infrastructure, etc. But still a lot need to be done. Core institutions still are weak. Police, justice, health, education. Trust has to be there. Involve more tribal people in their governance. Don't just keep on bringing outsiders. Forest, and why do you have these inner line permit system in Arunachal, etc.? Although people debate about it, because tribal people have their own distinct way of living. If you're bringing outsider, even with a good motive, you have to first of all convince these tribal people. That will take its own sweet time. In the meantime, involve these local people in their own administration. So poor implementation of Forest Rights Act, dilution of amendments and all, not good. PESA increasingly undermined. Gram Sabha's power given only on paper, not on reality. Chhattisgarh, the most Maoist affected state, shows maximum violation of these things, of these rules and regulations, which tell you the actual reality, which tells you why Maoism or Naxalism actually happened. Right. So representation remains symbolic. You can read all these things. Local bodies, they don't have real autonomy, not only in, PESA or Gram Sabhas, etc. In India in general, how much power do these panchayats and municipalities hold? Do you know the mayor of your city? I don't think many of you do. Harshini, who is the mayor of Chennai? So this is the reality. Permanent bureaucracy, mostly non-tribal, dominates decision making, thereby prevent or, in a way, promoting alienation. So we need a new governance imagination, six schedule autonomy models. That has to be like six schedules covers which area, guys? Six schedule autonomy models. Post Maoist India needs a new governance strategy. You can read all these things. Core conclusion: Maoism is as much a governance failure as a development or security issue. All these things which you are seeing here, it is not. Tell me the difference between fifth and sixth schedule. We have seen a mnemonic for 12 schedules, tiers of old PM. So territories, emoluments of formations, Rajya Sabha, scheduled areas, other tribal areas, federal list, and then languages, official languages, land reforms, defection, panchayats and municipalities. So 80 Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya, Mizoram, their region comes under which schedule, guys? Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. It comes under fifth or sixth schedule. Sita Sahu Patna. Okay. So Iltush, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram, is it sixth schedule or fifth schedule? Very good. And the schedule areas, cool. And the other regions, they are under fifth schedule. So remember these things. So what are you getting from this article? That tribal people, more representation has to be done. Governor has to use more discretionary power when it comes to implementation of provisions related to fifth schedule. Law should not remain on paper. Things which are happening in these areas, they're happening mainly due to governance failure. Everything can be tracked back to or traced back to governance failure. So you need sustainable peace for trust building, right-based governance, and genuine tribal self-rule. Don't just keep it on paper, otherwise Dutch disease will keep on expanding. Resource paradox. Sixth schedule. Very good, Aditya. Very good, Rishi. So now let's solve this question. Which of the following best describes single-use plastic? Mayor of Chennai was Priya, sir. Mrs. Priya, but I don't know if she's. Priya is such a good girl. Priya, Priya. In our time, there used to be song. Priya, Priya, oh Priya, 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 oh Priya. Subah Sham kare mera jiya, Priya, 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 Priya. So that means the song is saying that, oh God, Priya, oh God, Priya, oh God, Priya. Why every morning and every evening my heart is saying Priya, Priya. So that is the basic song. Harshini, this is your homework. Listen to this song, Priya, Priya. So what is the answer of MCQ 8, guys? Iltush has given the answer for MCQ 8. Aditya has given the answer. Plastic designed for one-time use before disposal, or disposal rather, that is single-use plastic. Very good. Priya. Page 16. Now this is yesterday's article, guys. So Iltush, Aditya, Harshini, Rishi, they have given the answer. Does India need to upgrade its biosecurity measures? Biological Weapon Convention. So biosecurity. See, understand one thing. There are different terms which you have to understand and related to different kind of security measures. Biosafety, biosecurity. What is the basic difference between biosafety and biosecurity? Then there are different conventions. Like here we are talking about biological weapons convention, which talks about, like, you people were not born at that time, but COVID came, and many people were like, from China, many people were like, COVID is actually a biological weapon. COVID came via using biological weapon. Biological weapon means bacteria, fungi, etc. You have used different permutation combination, and then you are using these biological weapon to spread these diseases to kill everyone. So to ensure that you know these biological organisms, they are not used in destructive ways, you have this biological weapon convention. Then you have different other things, guys. You have Australia group, which looks into, if I'm not wrong, dual use technologies. Then you have MTCR, Missile Technology Control Regime, which looks into whether we are not proliferating missile, BrahMos, etc. Indonesia wants to buy from us, or other countries, let's say, they want to buy from us. So this is proliferation of missiles. MTCR will come into picture now, Missile Technology Control Regime. Then you have Wassenaar Arrangement. This is your homework. Read about Wassenaar Arrangement, what they're dealing with. This article is basically telling you that biologic. Okay, let's come back. So first of all, what is important from like bio warners are exactly. So biosafety and biosecurity, what is the basic difference between them? Biosafety, accidental release of pathogen. So let's say there are some biotechnology initiative which we are doing, and we want to make some genetically modified crops, this and that. So we have to ensure that whatever genes or whatever changes we want to bring in pathogen, we're not accidentally releasing it. That is biosafety. Biosecurity is intentional misuse of biological agent. So again, as we are talking about China, maybe they intentionally misuse some biological agents to create a COVID-like scenario. So I hope you can understand. You can even say that biosecurity is a subset of biosafety. Chennai, China movie related to bio war. Okay, cool. So advancement in new age biotechnology have increased humanity's ability to understand and manipulate biological system, and they are actually needed. You know, you make changes in bacteria, fungi, algae, and whatever. So they treat a lot of diseases, this and that, but there can be a misuse. Like COVID is a very great example. These same advances risk or raise the risk of intentional misuse. Hence, biosecurity measures must be strengthened. You must have seen a lot of Hollywood movies. Something is opened and oh my god, everybody died. So basically that is the biological weapon, so to say. Biosecurity refers to practices and system to prevent the deliberate, again you can read all these things, biological agent, biological technologies. And basically, what is the difference between biosafety and biosecurity? Biosafety is accidental release, we have to prevent. Biosecurity is intentional misuse, we have to prevent. Again, read it once or twice, you will understand. Global framework, we have framework, biological weapon convention, first international treaty. Anything first is very important. So this is your first international treaty to prohibit development and use of biological weapons. Keep it in mind. And why we need a strong biosecurity? Because we are surrounded by some very, very geographical location. What does it mean? China is adjacent to us. They're doing a lot of things. They're developing very fast. So we have to be very aware of that. And that's why we are very vulnerable, because we are surrounded by none other than China. Ecological diversity. Kerala, every year, some new disease will come. Japanese encephalitis, something, some, and we have so much diversity in Western Ghats that raises the risk of, different fungi, algae mixing in different permutation and combination and all, and bacteria and all, and creating issues for us. Large population. If if let's say some biological weapon is introduced in Chennai or Delhi, let's say 2 crore population will be wiped out all at once. Oh my god. So that's why we need strong biosecurity measures, guys. Rapid spread of, again, read all these things. Hope you understood the basic rationale. More important here is for you people to do a revision here. Australia Group, Wassenaar Arrangement, Australia means MTCR. Make a comparative analysis of all of them. This is what you have to do. This is your homework. And what we have, how we are curbing it. We have NCDC, National Center for Disease Control. We have Department of Biotechnology. We have Animal Husbandry and Dairying thing. So we have different departments. We have Environmental Protection Act 1986. What is important? They can give you WPA, Environmental Protection Act, and some other act, Air Act, Water Act, arranged them in chronological order. So remember the year in which it was passed. NDMA guidelines, National Disaster Management Authority, 2005, biosafety rules. So we have a lot of things, but we have to see. We have to be very vigilant. And India is a member of Biological Weapon Convention. Australia Group, 2018 we joined with the help of US. Earlier we were not a part of it. There's a UPSC PYQ already asked on Australia Group, so solve that. So we have joined it in 2018. So India is now a member. They can say that India is not a member, or India is a member of how many of these organizations. They have already asked it in PYQs. So keep it in mind. Existing gaps. Multiple agencies operate in biorisk management. Again, they are all working in their own silos. Environmental Protection Act, let's say, NCDC and all. So they have to come together when it comes to biotechnology and its misuse. India's global, again, you can health security index ranking 66. So we generally top from the bottom, and this is not an exception. Weak biosecurity can endanger millions to billions of life. Oh my God, we have just taken the example of Delhi and its 2 crore population. What can happen if a biological weapon is unleashed on Delhi? Urgent need for a coordinated, you can read all these, blah, blah, blah. We'll have a discussion on this some other time as well. Let's solve some question, guys. MCQ 9 based on the previous article. Wow, Rishi, very good. Which of the following factors contributed to the spread of Maoist influence in central and eastern India? Alienation and underrepresentation of tribals in governance structure, persistent land alienation despite constitutional safeguard, effective functioning of service delivery institution. What is the answer, guys? Maoist influence. So Iltush, Harshini, Aditya, and Rishi, they have given the answer A. Third is wrong, right? MCQ 10. In the context of nuclear governance, non-proliferation concern mainly relate to what? We have talked about nuclear governance because we're talking about Shanti. I love you. Nau Piryadi Poina. I love you. Nipranam Poina. Shanti bill we have discussed, right? In that regard, we have talked about non-proliferation concerns. So, what is the basic aspect? Like when it comes to non-proliferation concerns, private participation will be limited in that regard. So, what is the answer for MCQ 10, guys? Chepanడి చెప్పుతో లేదు కాదు, guys. I love you now, Piryadi Poina. I love you, Nipranam Poina. Itipuntagirunudu. So, who has answered it? Harshini, Iltush, Game Changer. Game Changer is some movie or what? Is this a movie of Ramcharan? Game Changer? Ramcharan. So, in the context of nuclear governance, non-proliferation concerns. So, Harshini, Iltush, Game Changer, Rishi, they have given the answer. We'll discuss it tomorrow, guys. This is a homework for you. Like, share, and subscribe. Spread the word. You can join this Telegram channel. I'll share this in the analysis PDF by 9:30 a.m. Very good. What else? Score fine. Then you can join these programs, individual programs, or bundle. Prices of individual as well as success bundle will increase from 1st January. So 1st January, the prices will increase. I'm saying will means it will increase. So keep that in mind. And if you're thinking, and if you have any queries related to any course or success bundle, you can send me a WhatsApp message. You are your own competition. You're competing with yourself. You can also donate if I'm contributing to your knowledge base. So that's it from me, guys. And yeah. So I'm going now. I will see you people tomorrow at 8 a.m. Take care. Be blessed. Tata. Bye bye. Thank you, Ashwini. Thank you, everyone.